and opinions expressed by callers, guests, and hosts do not necessarily reflect those of the Black Talk Radio Network and Black Talk Media Project. Black Talk Radio is new black media for the new millennium.
Dinar would have had serious consequences for the world financial system, but may also have empowered the people of Africa, something black activists say the US wants to avoid at all costs.
We're slicing cake. We're slicing cake. We're slicing cake.
Say the US wants to avoid at all costs.
We're slicing cake.
Say the US wants to avoid at all costs.
We're slicing.
Gaddafi didn't give up. In the months leading up to the military intervention, he called on African and Muslim nations to join together to create this new currency that would rival the dollar and euro. They would sell oil and other resources around the world only for gold dinars. It's an idea that would shift the economic balance of the world. Countries' wealth would depend on how much gold they have, not how many dollars they trade. And Libya has 144 tons of gold.
Welcome everyone to Thando Radio Show, brought to you by Black Talk Radio Network. I'm your host, Dave from LA, and today is Friday, April the 21st, 2017, excuse me. We have a live show for you today. Just want to thank you all for listening to Thando Radio Show. And at any time, if you'd like to get in on the conversation, don't hesitate. Give us a call, 866-510-9025, 866-510-9025. And looking forward to today's show. And just so you know, some of the things we want to do is first start off with, of course, definitely us all continue to support Black Talk Radio Network, and all of the programs that are brought to you by Black Talk Radio Network. Very, very important. And you can do that by giving some of your financial energy by going to the website for this network and giving some of your donations right there on the website would be greatly, greatly appreciated. And you can find it by going to www.blacktalkradionetwork.com and check out, the website. But while you're there, stop by and click on the donation prompt that's there and follow the directions from the donation prompt. And then you will be giving some of your financial energy to maintain this overall direction. Do it today and do what you can. And all donations, great or small, are greatly, greatly appreciated. And we thank you all for what you do and who you are. And you make this all possible. Also, Black Talk Radio Network has a social media outlet known as BTR Community. And you can find that on the website while you're there, or you can go to its own web address as being www.btrcommunity.com. And what BTR Community is a social media network that Black Talk Radio Network has put together for your overall social activity engagement so that you can engage in all of the social media events or activities that you engage in on other platforms, the mainstream media ones. And you could do that here with us at BTR Community. Very, very, very important for you to engage in that. So you can post stuff about, things about yourself, your business, events that you think need to get more public exposure, or things that you just want to, your regular social media activities. You could do it with BTR Community where you won't be as adversely affected by it all. And definitely, this is something that I think you all should be engaging in, looking forward to it growing. So come on over to BTR Community. It's the only place that I actually post. And the reason being is because, it's a place where I know, I minimize the overall adverse effects of social media. So come on over where, you won't be adversely affected. Many of us don't realize how affected we are by social media. Many of us have had the adversities of it from so many things, even where you weren't given employment or opportunities because they were able to go back to your Fedbook page and your identity gets sold there. So here at BTR, your identity will always be one in which is not for sale. So very, very important. So come on over to BTR community. Also, if you're interested in acquiring real money, you can do that by going to Prosperity Mint and exchanging some of your cash for real money. So check that out. This is something that you definitely, in my opinion, should be engaging in. Come on over to Prosperity Mint, and where you can save as a king or queen or save as a lady and gentleman or a gentleman. Very, very important. Check out what we have there at the website. Then definitely before you purchase, please contact me by emailing me at wolf6pack1@gmail.com, wolf6pack1@gmail.com, or by going to text me at 951-790-8330 and leave me your name and number, and I'll make sure to get back to you because I want to make sure that you have the right buying, that you understand what it is that you're doing and engaging in and explain the overall process and some other things I would need to talk to you about. So before you do that, reach out to us either by email or you can actually text me so that we can facilitate that overall engagement and so that you will be purchasing in a correct form and fashion. That's very, 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 very important. Okay? So that's with Prosperity Mint. You could do that there. So with that being said, what am I forgetting? Nothing at all. So let's jump into today's show. Let's jump into what's in the news. And what we're going to do real quick, I need to go back to yesterday, some things that we had in what's in the news because I didn't post it yesterday because we didn't go into what was in the news because of the time constraints that we were under yesterday. So definitely, let's take a look at what's in the news there. So it was a couple of things. Let me go down and pull up some of the things. All right, so here we go. From what's in the news, we're going to cover a couple of things from yesterday, and then we're going to jump into today's very important show. So let's run through this real quick. All right. My man Roz posted from NPR. Louisiana governor declares state of emergency over disappearing coastline. Check out that article. Next article from Business Insider. Roz posted this one. Antarctica is melting more than scientists thought and is creating giant waterfalls. Check out that article also from NPR as well. Roz posted, Massachusetts throws out more than 21,000 convictions in drug testing scandal. Check out that article. Next one. This one from NBC News, that daily diet soda could be hurting your brain. A new study, man, definitely. We need to really change our eating and drinking habits. That stuff is definitely bad for you. It's bad for us all. Stay away from it. Wean yourself of it. And there's many things we need to wean ourselves from. But check out that article. Good article. Again, next article, I posted this from some cerebrally naive network. U.S. officials, China puts bombers on high alert. This is from yesterday. Next article, Roz posted this one from Liberty Headliners. Over 76 million Americans will pay no income tax. Next article from Fortune. Johnson & Johnson wants to use 3D printing to heal broken bones. Check out that article. Roz posted that one. Next article, South Indian frog oozes molecules that, let me see, that incompletely decimates flu virus. So, you know what? That's I always say this, how to move this down. You know, it's so important that every disease that man creates, the great creator has a herb or a natural form to cure it. So check out that article. Next one. Next article from, man, what is happening here? From Business Insider. Trump just signed a Buy America bill it went out on me, so I got to wait for this to come back. Sorry about that, you all. Okay, so move this down. Here we go. From Business Insider, Rise posted this one. Trump signed a Buy America order, but his own businesses don't do it. Check out the next article Rise posted, and we both posted this one. GM ceases operations in Venezuela as plant is seized. And let me tell you something, and we talked about this a while ago. I said that Mexico was going to start to seize and take American companies' assets. This is what happens as you start to move to a complete economic calamity or crisis that will lead to trade wars, that will lead to shooting wars, and this is what happened. You have where different companies will be nationalized by the governments themselves. So Venezuela, Mexico is actually has given hints that they're going to be doing that to American companies, which I don't think that, which I do definitely think that that's a great possibility, and that's definitely one of the pieces on the or one of the options that they will use. Even though we always say that these countries or governments are in one big fraternal order against the general population of the world, but still, they're definitely going to use that, and Venezuela is going to be using that, and that is going to be expanding. So check out that. Next article, Rise posts is Skype is the number one communications among cyber criminals. Well, I would say yes, and there's many others that are your regular cell phones, your emails, everything. But check out that article. Then I posted from Reuters, General Motors, Venezuela seizes the auto plant, General Motors auto plant down in Venezuela. That is going to be happening everywhere. Next article, posted from The Hill, Pence to North Korea. The sword stands ready. This stuff is ridiculous. Next one, from Wall Street Journal. Duped by Trump, U.S. taunted over Carl Vinson's aircraft tail. Basically, they moved the Carl Vinson. It wasn't where they said it was going to be going. But here's the importance of this. This whole thing in the Korean Peninsula has everything to do. It has nothing to do with North Korea, so to speak. It does and it doesn't. Now, North Korea is becoming a real threat because the U.S. knows what they're going to do. And there's going to be, in my opinion, a reunification of the Korean, North and South Korea. We talked about that a while ago. We've been saying that for a while. Definitely the handwriting's on the wall. But it's strategical positioning for the South Sea of China and the overall war that is going to be fought there, in my opinion. This is why they're maneuvering military assets in a position under the cover of something else, under the cover of it being North Korea, when North Korea is just only a part of the overall agenda. China is the big fish that's there. So check out that article. Things are going on. And South Korea is angry over the Carl Vinson's bluff. And I posted this one from the Cerebrally Naive Network, and that was from yesterday. So that was some of the articles from yesterday. Let's jump into some of the ones from today. If I will get some cooperation, please, from the thank you, Internet. For today, first article, first one that we posted, I did a interview with Brother Ben X. I did a YouTube video. Check out that YouTube video that's there. And next article, I posted from the San Francisco Gate. Massive power outage hits San Francisco, shuts down BART system. And that was a power outage that went out today in San Francisco. And then from Superstation 95, U.S. power grid under cyber attack is the question. Power outages in New York City, San Francisco, and L.A. A series of power outages. We're going to come back to that because it has a lot to do with what's going on in today's world. Next one, Rise posted from Cerebrally Naive Network. Florida releases experimental mosquitoes. Next one. I posted this one from RT International. Trump says Korea used to be a part of China. Twitter goes ballistic and South Korea investigates. Man, I'm telling you. North Korea and China are joined. And whatever happens in North Korea will affect China. During the Korean War, the Chinese came in and protected North Korea and was able to North Korea to hold off South Korea and the U.S. military because of Chinese support. That support line is not going to be severed just because they say it is here. It is a key part to the overall stability of China and the South Sea of China. So don't be fooled. Next article from Sputnik News. Russia, Syria holding talks on supplies of more air defense systems. This is what Assad is saying. Definitely this whole thing is going to go to full war. Next article from Sputnik News. Heading where? To Carl Vinson spotted near Indonesia, not the Korean Peninsula. Next article, Press TV, Mad Dog matters in Israel to discuss Iran and Syria. Then the next article is posted, Trump praises efforts of North Korea. Trump praises Chinese effort on North Korea. Next article, very, very important. We put a YouTube video up earlier this morning, about 11 hours ago, where the celebrity figurehead, Secretary of State Tillerson, was basically making a case for attacking Iran. And let me tell you why it's going to happen. Because Iran dropped the dollar on March the 21st. That's why it's going to be happening. And so don't be fooled by it all. This is why this war is going to definitely happen. Next article, Tillerson, Iran's provocative actions threaten the United States is what they were saying. So check out that, and then we posted the Twitter from that as well. Next article, what is this one? Oh, Texas depositories. Lawmakers, it's time to take our gold. This is a hint for you all what's going on in the world. Texas is actually repatriating, or have repatriated there in the process of repatriating their gold back to Texas, and they're going to build a depository, and that gives you all of the clear indications of where things are going. Texas is doing that because of specific families within Texas that are asset controllers and now are worried about their assets, and they want it to be brought back. And this is going to you have so many states that are falling in line with this. Arizona, Georgia, Utah, Nevada. I could go on and on. I would have to look. I believe South Carolina. I can't be sure, but I think South Carolina. Many are going back to making gold. They are in the process of making gold and silver legal tender, ladies and gentlemen. You have to get in front of it before all of this happens, else you won't be able to afford or may even not have the availability. And affording it is going to be the key, because it's going to be scarce and it's going to be highly expensive. So this is why you need to be contacting Prosperity Mint, getting your precious metals beforehand. This isn't just me saying this. We've been bringing you the information of what you should be doing to protect yourself and your family. And believe me, after everything goes awry, you will be happy that you did. It will change your overall wealth position as this wealth transfer makes its sweep and is going to be stealing assets from people. You do not have to allow it to make you a victim. So position yourselves accordingly, because the rest of those that know they know the war is coming, they know the economic collapse is coming, and they know that the overall economies is going to be changing its overall methodology, is going to be moving from a debt-based economy to an asset-based economy. Next article from Business Insider. Russia wants to build the biggest aircraft carrier in the world to compete with the U.S. Next article from Business Insider. Let me move this one. Here's how common drug overdoses are in your state. Here's how common drug overdoses are in your state. So check out that article. Next article from Business Insider. The U.S. Navy is redesigning submarines to accommodate female sailors. The drafting of the women is speeding up because they're going to need all hands on deck for this war, and it's a part of the depopulation program. A land without men is conquered. A land without women is barren, meaning you don't exist. So check out that article. It's a politically correct way to depopulate the planet. Next article. This one is. This one didn't come up. This one comes from the Federal Reserve.gov. They caught, I think it was, Deutsche Bank was caught rigging the market again. So, and they got a fine. So, and I said caught rigging the market again. And the rigging of the market is going to become a big source of contention here relatively soon. So check that out. Next article from Superstation 95. Hudson County in New Jersey to be nuked in federal simulation on April the 24th and 25th. And this is what is going to take place, and we're going to definitely take a look at this today. And I don't think that is by coincidence that you have power outages all over, and there is many things that are in the works. I saw another article. It wasn't so article. I saw my man Marvin, Big Marv. Thank you, brother. I saw he had posted something about credit unions having problems and stuff. I do definitely think that things are being shaped up for some major incidents to happen relatively soon. So definitely be prepared, and we're going to talk about some of that. Next article from Superstation 95, Feds to conduct Operation Gotham Shield. And this is what today's show is going to be about, simulating a 10,000-pound nuclear detonation over New York City and New Jersey on Monday and Tuesday that will produce an EMP. You want to take a look at that. Next article from Defense One. Risk of accidental nuclear war growing, UN research group says. And I said, nuclear risk is never an accident. It's always been the plan. And today's show is going to be about Operation Gotham Shield, which is scheduled for April the 24th and 25th, Monday and Tuesday, and what you need to know and some things you need to be thinking about. If you're in that general vicinity, if you're in the tri-state area, or if you are just anywhere, everyone needs to be aware of this because this can spread into much more. And so that's what today's show is going to be about. If you'd like to get in on the conversation, don't hesitate. Give us a call, 866-510-9025, 866-510-9025. And I see in our chat, Strategic Melanin, what's up? Much love, much respect. Says that this comes from ABC News. Hundreds of trucks stuck at Port of Long Beach after power outage. Yes, very important. Thank you, Strategic Melon. That's a good article, and I'm going to at the break repost that inside of Thando radio show and BTR community. Very. This is all a strategical ploy and plan, ladies and gentlemen. One of the things about what happens in war is that you want to control the supply lines and decapitate the overall capabilities of the enemy that you are engaging. Oh, thank you, Strategic. Got it. Already put it in there. Peace. Okay, so let me see. Great. So listen, if you'd like to get in on the conversation, don't hesitate. Give us a call, 866-510-9025, 866-510-9025. Much for us to talk about and to get into today, and we're going to do that. But if you have any questions or comments you want to jump off with first, we could do that as well. But we will definitely get into the show. So we're going to do that right now. No callers in queue. I don't see any, so let's jump into today's show. So let me go back to what was in the news, and then it was a couple of articles. Man, it's so much. Let me just say this, in my opinion, ladies and gentlemen, the excuse of war is really ratcheting up, and we're going to see this thing kick off, and it's going to, in my opinion, from now on, you're going to have to be very suspicious and very cautious on Fridays, Thursdays and Fridays. You're definitely going to have to be, one second. You're going to definitely have to be very suspicious of Thursdays and Fridays because they are likely for major events to happen on those days, especially from now on, is going to be great. So what I wanted to do is I wanted to talk about the power outages, and then, first we're going to do that too. Let me just jump into this really quick. Let me jump into this story first. So much to consider. But let's talk about the power outages first, then we'll get into the topic of today's show, okay? All right, so some of the power outages. So there were reports. I was not able to completely confirm all of the reports of all of the power outages that happened today throughout the country. Didn't really need to, because I always known that this was going to be a part of the overall plan, and this is going to be something that you are going to have to contend with, in my opinion, in the future, on a small or very elaborate, broad scale. It's going to be affecting you, your family, and the community, and it could also affect the actual region, the country, or the globe, where because of the engagement of, if we start to have a nuclear war, ladies and gentlemen, the lights won't be out just in America. Will be out pretty much everywhere. Everywhere, for many reasons, tactical reasons, and because they would have been blown out, and there will be no repairing of that infrastructure until the war is over. And I can't stress that enough. Once this happens, if this is going to be the choice of depopulation, and don't give me they would never do that. Because if you say that they will never do that, you purposely choose to live in a, to live in a bubble. You purposely choose because you're afraid of looking at things for historically truths and what the evidence is of the past acts of engagement. And, it's funny when I hear people say they won't do that. And I always, I don't even answer those people. But in my mind, this is what I say. You can't even prove that they wouldn't do that. You can't even logically prove or give any form of evidence as to why your position is valid, because it's not valid. Where others that give you the heed, the warning, can give you all forms of evidence, proven evidence in events where it has happened before in the past. Cognitive dissonance is amazing. We choose to be because it makes us feel better, not to look at reality. We want to stay in a comfortable bubble. So once this does happen, if this does happen, and if power outages start because of a nuclear exchange or nuclear engagement, those lights will never come back on until after the war is over and the world has started to repair itself. And believe me, if the U.S. is the way things are going and the way the purge is going of the U.S. will be the last. Well, let me really think about that. Okay, I got it. This is how I would categorize it. The U.S. will be the last to come back online, but will be the first to come online as well. Here's what I mean by that. The U.S. will come back online in order for its factories to be filled with the people that are going to be working in the sweatshops to repay the overall debt reparations, the war reparations that the U.S. was the cause and will be found guilty of. And it's in your overall living communities, those lights will not come back on, because the priority will not be to reestablish and bring back those lights, but the priority to get the lights on to and around the factories of the manufacturing that are going to be exported is going to be the priority. You may live at home in the dark, but you'll have plenty of light at work. That's what this whole thing is moving towards. This is the history and the capabilities of today's technology. And believe me, they are not going to ignore technology because all of a sudden they have developed a heart of gold. They haven't. System needs and it wants to maintain its overall control. of what's happening. So I would say to you, be thoroughly aware of what's going on. So what I want to do is pick up this article. A series of our power outages in Los Angeles, San Francisco, and New York left commuters stranded and traffic breaks and backed up on Friday. Although the outage occurred around the same time, there's no evidence yet that they were connected by any more than a coincidence. You're right. Given the sudden and unusual nature of the outage, Superstation 95 inquired of its source in the Department of Homeland Security, who told us, on the face, these power outages are little. Let me move this down. On the face, the power outages are a little too coincidental to be natural occurrences. We can confirm we are looking for evidence of cyber attack. And we think we've found, and we think we'll find it. Did you hear that? Cyber attack. Now, who would be engaging in cyber attacks right now? Many could be. They could develop a boogeyman, or it could be sincere. Either way, it still can adversely affect you if you're not prepared. Okay? So this is what Superstation 95 said. I wasn't able to substantiate or validate this. They said that they spoke to the Department of Homeland Security, and they said on their face, these power outages are a little too. Oops. Uh-oh. Let me move this down. Okay. These power outages are a little too coincidental to be a natural occurring. We can confirm we are looking for evidence of cyber attack, and we think we'll find it. Very, very important. So here's what they ran down. Power outages in New York Friday. The first outage occurred at around 7:20 in New York when the power went down at the 7th and 53rd Street subway stations, were sent as shockwaves of significant delays out from the hubs into the rest of the subways. I hope my man Roz was not adversely affected by this today. By 11:30, the city's MTA confirmed that the generators were running again in the stations throughout New York subways. Next one, power outage in Los Angeles Friday. Later in the morning, power outages were reported at the Los Angeles International Airport, where several other areas around the city with outages. Major power outage at, someone tweeted, a major power outage at LAX. Next one, power outage at San Francisco, power outage on Friday, and this was definitely this is definitely one that I know that definitely did happen. That one in the New York one, I wasn't too aware of the power outage at LAX. So there are different power outages, and they say that they are now looking into it as possibly a cyber attack. And this is what I said. Remember what we talked about, ladies and gentlemen. I said North Korea, Iran, Syria all have very capable cyber units, as well as the U.S. does. And don't think that the U.S. itself won't cause a cyber attack here in the United States for the benefit their overall budgets. Don't put it past them. So that is one of the things that I wanted to take a look at, and I definitely would say we need to thoroughly prepare for what's going on. Okay? And so that is very, very important. All right, so next one. So what I wanted to do now is I want to get into, I messed up. I had it already. Sorry about that, everyone. Let's get into today's show. Now, there's going to be a simulated joint operation that's going to take place in New York City and in New Jersey on Monday and Tuesday that you need to be aware of. And also, before we get going, we got a caller that's in queue. Get to you in 1 second, Mel. Before we get going, right, it's no more, thank God it's Friday. It's more like be aware, be on alert Friday. So true. Now, one of the things I want to say, then we're going to get to a caller that's in queue. Be right there with you in second caller. Very, very important that you start to get everything in position for yourself and your family. Extremely important. If you are living in one of the areas that were affected by power outages, please give us a call today. Give us a call today. I'm very particular about power outages because it was actually a power outage that started my overall that actually woke me up as a young child in the tri-state area of New York and New Jersey when we had a major power outage. I remember being outside and all of a sudden the lights went out and I couldn't even see my hand in front of me, living in Jersey. And it got eerily quiet. And, this is growing up in the projects, and it got eerily quiet, and it was like, uh-oh. So that, once the lights came back on, I said, I will never, ever not be prepared. And I was a young teenager at that time, early teens, when that happened. And so that was my overall initial introduction to don't trust this, Dave. Something is going on here, and it ain't a coincidence. So if you experience that today, definitely give us a call. We'd love to hear from you. We got a caller in queue. Let's go to this caller. It's a caller out of OKC. Welcome, caller, to Thando Radio Show, bro. What's your name, where you calling from, and what is your question or comment?
Peace, bro. Mel.
Peace, Big Mel. What's up?
Just listening to you, man, on this power outage thing. I know a few years ago, basically, you have to either convert over to a smart meter, what they call the smart meter,
mm-hmm.
or if you chose to opt out of the smart meter, you had to pay basically a monthly fine for not accepting the smart meter.
Mm-hmm.
And they made it to where it was like, it's so convenient. You don't have to worry about the meter readers and everything. And, we can just read it via satellite and everything. So I'm thinking, that's definitely a tool because they can remotely. Usually, you used to have to come physically shut off a person's electricity, house by home or whatever. But now all they have to do is just flip your switch. And I just wanted to get your take on is that, we should have seen that coming a long time ago with the smart meters.
Oh, yeah, without a doubt. And, excuse me, sorry about that. Yeah, and Mel, Mel, what I want you to do is I want you to give your opinion on what you're seeing and how you see it playing out. Because I think that is much, much more important.
Well, my opinion would be, if in fact there was, say, for instance, civil unrest, it would be so easy and so, in an instant. And like you said, the factories and they have it divided in grids so small that if they can control your water supply block to block, house to house, of course they can control because they monopolize it. It's not like you have 10 different electric companies you can go to. So they monopolize it and centralize it. And my opinion is it's leverage for them. In the event of civil unrest,
right,
they can flip the switch and send it. Just whenever they want to. That's just my take on it. And furthermore, if I'm the only one that is prepared on my block and they see a couple of lights in my house, I'm an instant target.
Well, that's why I don't like to be. Right. And we talked about this, many times. Great point. Here's the thing with that, and I'm glad you brought that up. And you've always heard me say this on Thando. Whatever conditions your neighborhood is in, your house better be in that same condition. There could be no distinguishable difference between your house or your place and everybody else's. If the lights is out, don't you start the play, the music loud and have all the lights on and everything, because you're going to attract unwanted attention. And that unwanted attention could be very, very violent. So you're going to have to play this very close to the vest and wisely. And that's so true, Mel. And yes, this whole thing that they set up with the smart meters and everything else, they purposely put this in because now they're able to have much more control. And this is, in my opinion, was a part of the, like Google was actually a part of Operation Bluebeam, I believe it was, or it'll come back to me, but that was also a part of it all, to where they wanted to get to where everyone could be electronically, digitally. This is why we went from analog to digital. On a digital, and they passed it off to everyone else, like this was going to be a great thing for you and speed and everything else. But what we didn't realize is that technology, it depends on who's creating it. If the devil is creating technology, I don't care what comfort it gives to you, it's still going to be there to steal your soul. It's still going to be there. That's going to be the objective of it. So technology could be something that could be beneficial, or it could be used as leverage against you in a very expedient and effective and efficient way. So this is very, very, very important. And I'm glad you brought that up, Mel. So everyone, please prepare. Know what you need to know. Get what you need to get. Nothing to be afraid of. But we are moving into areas that many people will now all of a sudden wish they had prepared. And because they hadn't, they're going to be looking for things that they're going to be, everybody will get it then. But they don't have to get it from you. They don't have to get it from you. So just be mindful. Every person's situation is quite different, because you may live next to someone right away. I mean, someone that's right next door to you, or someone may live a mile or 3 miles away from you. Everyone that's listening to Thando Radio Show has different environments. So know that environment and know what's going on in your neighborhood and have an appropriate response. As Mel was saying, if the lights go out here in your neighborhood, then you don't want to be the only one that shows that you got electricity. So you're going to have to figure that out as well. How you deploy your preparedness items is just as critical as having them or not having them. So very, very important. Well said, Mel. Was there any other point that you wanted to make, brother?
Nah, just that I love you very much, brother, and all y'all. Peace.
Yes, much love, much respect. And Mel reminded me to say this. Okay, listen, everyone, before we go further, what we're going to do is that we're going to do the precious metals class. I'm going to open back up, wait for some things to open up on my schedule to do it. If you would like to take the precious metals class, there's 2 forms in which you could do it. What time is it? Okay. The monthly form, and that will be at $40 a month. Or you can do what we charge for everyone else to do the classes, the fast classes. It's going to be about an hour for 4 consecutive weeks. Not every day. One day for 4 consecutive classes for 1 hour, and that will be $100 per class. If you would like to do that, or do the $40 one, and the $40 one will be $40 a month, and we're going to commingle preparedness and the precious metals class. Big difference is that the expedient one is that we get you specific information right away in a fast process. The other one is going to be more time delayed with different things, but you can also engage if you wanted to. You can also engage in both, and so it would be up to you. So that was one of the things I forgot. My man Mel reminded me when he called, and thank you, brother, for reminding me. So if you'd like to do that, you can definitely email me at wolf6pack1@gmail.com, and I will send you the instructions on how to do that, or you can text me at 951-790-8333. right? Yeah, 951-790-8330. So just wanted to, and Mel, thanks for reminding me, man. I got kind of off track there. I knew it was something else that I needed to do, and I didn't write it down. So big ups to my man. All right, so back to what's happening here. I want to jump into today's show. And in jumping into today's show, oops, hit the wrong one. I want to do that. Okay, so today's show is going to be about Operation Gotham Shield. And Operation Gotham Shield. And by all no means is no coincidence. Before we go there, let's lay the groundwork here. Let's make the case here. Why are they going to do this operation? Because they have an engagement that they're engaging in military action against Syria. They're going to be attacking Iran, and they're going to be attacking North Korea. And that is going to move into, let's just take North Korea's capabilities. Even if North Korea can or can't do something, it doesn't really matter, because if it gives the system leverage for what it wants to do, they'll just blame it on them. But let's just say that North Korea does have these capabilities. Why would they be simulating in doing this? Because they already know that North Korea can do it, and know that North Korea will do it. And if they will do it, it doesn't matter how much they prepare for this. They shouldn't even, preparing for this is a moot point now. It's a completely moot point. If it was sincere, it would almost be a moot point on the last, well, in the final stages before the possibility of a preemptive attack, either by North Korea or the United States, going by their own program and propaganda. It's a moot point to practice this now. It's too late. If you were sincere, it's too late. What should have been done a long time ago was that the infrastructure, the grid, should have been hardened so that it can withstand an EMP. There should have been actually more education in your schoolings in your schools. Your schools would have not been schooling, but they would have been educating on some real truths. But see, if for us to have that means that then there would have been some sincerity, and then there wouldn't be the actions and the causes and effects that we see now. But just to go with it, let me tell you why this is a moot point. Because the EMP is so devastating that it doesn't matter what resources you have, they won't be able to move or function. Why won't they be able to move or function? It doesn't matter if you have an EMP-proof car. If you have an EMP-proof car in the middle of Manhattan and the EMP go off, you might as well turn your car off too, because you ain't going nowhere, because all the other cars that aren't EMP proof is going to be in the way. And you won't be able, there won't be enough sidewalk space for you to drive down, because you won't even get to the sidewalk. You won't even get there. So let's check it out. How much time we got? Okay, let's check it out. Let's read the article real quick, and then we'll talk about it. I want to get your opinion on it, and then I'll give some of mine and why this is so important. And then, of course, what is it that we should be doing? If you are in the tri-state area, and everyone that, when I say the tri-state area, you know who you are. You need to be thoroughly prepared for this thing going active and live real soon here in New York and in Jersey. Roz, don't play with this, as I know you already know. I didn't realize how many listeners we have in New York City. Don't play with this. Don't play with this. If nothing happens, cool. But if something does happen, on this type of scale, your decisions that you make on Friday the 21st may be the difference between you being able to navigate and get through things on the 24th, 25th, and any days after that. Very, very important. Extremely important. So we're going to take a look at this. Let's take a look at it. Okay, this one says, Feds conduct Operation Gotham Shield, simulating a 10 kiloton nuclear detonation over New York and New Jersey Monday and Tuesday, next Monday and Tuesday. Updated 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time yesterday. A joint operation codenamed Gotham Shield is scheduled for April the 24th and 25th. The premise of the simulated crisis will be the detonation of a 10,000-ton nuclear device in the airway over New Jersey, which will, and that's going to put out a nuclear device puts out an EMP. And they didn't find that out, so they say, which they already knew. They didn't find that out until they were testing in White Sands, Arizona, during the Manhattan Project. They realized that it knocked out all the power. You're right. They knew that for a long time. All right. Electronic magnetic pulse, EMP, caused by the detonation of this device will cause the disabling of most telephones, internet, and other electronic devices in a 20 kilometer radius around the detonation site. Operation, that's what you hope. I think it's going to be, if it does happen, it's going to be far greater. Operation Gotham Shield is a joint exercise with for what they're saying, for their training, then the detonation radius is what they want to look at. So that's true. All right. So Operation Gotham Shield is a joint exercise with the Amateurs Radio Emergency Services, Military Auxiliary Radio Services, Department of Defense, Federal Emergency Management Agency, FEMA, and the Red Cross in New York and New Jersey. Mars is headquarters in Fort Hatchetoo, Arizona, and assigned to the headquarters United States Army Network Enterprise Technology Command, known as NETCOM. A military document obtained by the station, Superstation 95, the role of the amateur radio ham operators will be to report on a county-by-county basis the status of electrical power, municipal water service, sanitation services, medical services, communications, and transportation. What is that telling you, ladies and gentlemen? All the power is going to be out. So if power goes out, what happens to refrigerated food? It spoils. And what happens to everything else that's required for electricity? It's not working. It's not working. So you can look at the ramifications of that. Municipal water supplies. You are going to be getting unsanitary water, unpotable water, meaning it's not been effectively sterilized. And how are you going to be boiling water if you have electrical stoves? So the water supply is going to be contaminated. Next one, sanitation services. Very important. Now you're going to have trash building up from just that standpoint, but the sanitation services also go to the water, and the sewage is going to be a problem. That's the main problem. Sewage is going to be a major, major problem. You get non-potable water with sewage, and you can imagine the overall human waste and all the other waste that is going to be become a contention. We got a stinking disaster here. Medical facilities. The medical facilities will be overrun by people incapable of being able to supply the overall needs of the people. You know, the hospitals are just like the bank. It can't have everybody in the community come into the hospital for withdrawal from the hospital. It'll have to close its doors. It'll go belly up. Communications Why is communication so important? How is anything going to be able to coordinate? Because when the electrical power goes out, then you're going to have fires and everything else. And fire, one of the things that they don't mention in EMPs, one of the greatest dangers in EMPs is fires, because you won't be able to put them out effectively, especially in a highly concentrated city. Fire is the biggest threat to preppers. And your unprepared neighbor would be number one. You need to say that first and foremost. And transportation. Will be no food coming in, ladies and gentlemen. There will be no supplies coming in. How are you going to get the water in? If an EMP goes off, that means it stops everything in place, even the things that are EMP hardened. All of the roadways are going to be impassable. Yes, they'll be able to push cars and everything else out the way. That's what they'll have to do. But initially, that's going to be the problem. And then in the cities, once you get in the cities, you can't push cars out the way in the cities because the streets are only so big. Where are you going to push them to? But relentless human spirit, they'll find a way. And what they'll do is just probably open up just one lanes and everything else. But that's going to take coordination. And people don't get coordinated when things go awry. They panic because they're not prepared. Now they get scared. Scared people are very, very dangerous. Extremely dangerous. So, we're getting ready to go to a commercial break. If you'd like to get in on the conversation, don't hesitate. Give us a call, 866-510-9025, 866-510-9025. Then hit ***. We'll see you in queue, and we'll definitely bring you up. My man Mel, I muted. You were already muted, but I closed it, so in case you wanted to come back in, I would know you were there. So give us a call. Getting ready to go to a commercial break. You're listening to Thando Radio Show, brought to you by Black Talk Radio Network. Don't hesitate. Give us a call. We'd love to hear from you. If you were in some of the affected areas today with the blackouts, please, we need to hear from you. You're listening to Thando Radio Show, brought to you by Black Talk Radio Network. We'll be right back after this quick commercial break.
Black Talk Radio, since 2008, providing new black media for the masses.
Okay, welcome back, everyone, to Thando Radio Show, brought to you by Black Talk Radio Network. I'm your host, Dave from LA. If you'd like to get in on the conversation, give us a call, 866-510-9025, 866-510-9025, and definitely would love to hear from you. So I'm going to jump back into today's show. Okay, so let's get back into what's going on here. All right, so next, this information about whether such services are fully operational, rolling out outages, partially available, or completely destroyed will be transmitted to NORAD and the National Command Authority. The problem with this exercise is that many times in the past, federal exercises have become actual events. Very true. A scanned image of the document appeared below. And what they did is they posted it here. I posted it inside of Thando as well. And it says, was talking about some of the things that's there. So it goes on. 2 days before 9/11, military exercises simulated suicide hijacking targeting New York City. The U.S. conducted a training exercise in the 5 days before the September 11 attack that included simulating aircraft hijacked by terrorists, according to a 9/11 Commission document recently found in the United States National Archives. In one of the scenarios implemented on September the 9th, terrorists hijacked a London to New York flight and planned to blow it up with explosives over New York. The undated document entitled NORAD Exercise Hijack Summary was part of a series of the 9/11 Commission records moved to the National Archives at the start of the year, and it was found there and posted to the 9/11 Document Archive by historical common contributors in the files of the Commission Terms 8, which focus on the failed emergency response on the day of the attack. The summary appears to have been drafted by one of the commissioning staffs, possibly Miles Kraft, based on documents submitted by NORAD. And let me just say this. Let's continue to go through, because I don't want to. No, I think I'm going to have to take this step by step. Okay, let's take this right here. One of the things that I think that this is very unsincere about is this whole thing, is that this is nothing new. If we were telling you here on Thando Radio Show 2 years ago that these type of things was going to be happening, what information did the governments already have a long time ago? Why they want to wait up until the minute of preemptive strike before now all of a sudden doing things? Because here's what I think is happening, in my opinion. They're using this to position themselves accordingly for the event to actually happen. That's what this is all about. And I don't trust them, never have trust them, never will trust them. And the reason why I don't trust them, because of the truth of the past historically. Why would you think that they've already all of a sudden become benevolent? Why wouldn't you think that everything that they do is malevolent? By us not thinking that way, we always come up short. And we always get the big surprise. So until such entities have proven themselves to be reliable, benevolent, and necessary, continue to be weary of their moves. Continue to be weary of their actions. Continue to doubt them. Regardless of what they say, everything that they're telling you is a lie. The individual that's in front of you may not be lying because they're minions. They don't make any decisions. They follow orders. But the best thing that you could ever do is look at this system completely as the lying system that it is, and never forget that or allow that to change in you until you see evidence of such a change, because now you control everything. As long as they make the rules, and as long as you play by the rules, they will rule. They can't be trusted. And it doesn't matter what face they put in front of you, what leadership they actually endorse and say how credible they are. The system still remains the same. Its objective is to control and subjugate and enslave you. So, have no faith in them. Have no faith that they are sincere. Have faith that they are lying, because they can't be trusted. They haven't been trustworthy in the past. They're not trustworthy now. And the likelihood if they exist tomorrow, they won't be trustworthy then either. The system lies because it exists, not because it's changed. So I can see this. It may not be the case, but they are capable of it, and they will use whatever they need to use at any particular time. I don't need to go down all of the historical events to prove that point. The time to waste on proving that point is wasted water on the floor. Let's not waste any more. But what this does do is say, heads up, they plan on doing this there or somewhere close to it. Heads up no matter what, because they're going to do it. And this type of activity has adverse effects everywhere. They're positioning themselves to be able to do that because they need things to be situated and in place because they are human like you. They can't be caught out of place when things go awry, ladies and gentlemen. They have to be in place so that they can magnify the overall opportunities. As that celebrity figurehead, Rahm Emanuel, said, let no good crisis go to waste. But see, I'm going to say, let no good crisis go to waste, and let's create as many as we possibly can. That's what they do. That's who they are. See them for what they are. And then this is an opportune situation. All of the conditions are there. All right, so that's what I think this is going to be, where they're going to pre-position and be ready and in place for that to happen so that they can maximize on the momentum from the event. Article goes on. So it talked about the 9/11. Next article in the next article. Let me see, where did I leave off? Okay. In a second hijack scenario of the day, 10 members of a fictional terrorist group called Lin Pao hijacked another 747 to Anchorage, this time out of Seoul, Korea. The hijackers were armed with weapons having been smuggled onto the plane by ground crews before takeoff. They also had gas canisters that they could be detonated. The 2 plane passengers were killed, and the CIA and the NSA warned that the group has the means to pull off an attack with chemical and biological weapons. In response, NORAD's command ordered fighters from the Alaskan NORAD ANR to intercept and shadow the hijacked plane and to get into position for a shoot down. Okay. See the scenario that's blowing out? Let me tell you what I see here. And let me tell you, I used to do, and I know Scotty, Scotty was in the military, I'm not, from what he was doing in communications, but I know when I was in the military, one of the things is that we always had to have SITSIMs, situational awareness, that we would always have to practice for, that we knew were credible and likely and could happen. Here's a SITSIM right here, ladies and gentlemen. Think about it. Could it be that they bragged and boasted about them stopping North Korea's missile launch by way of a cyber attack? And they said they did it and they were so proud of it and everything else. They were gloating about it and everything, while trying to say, no, we didn't do it, but they gave with a grin. You knew exactly the message but see, it was the setup. Here's what could play out. They could have a plane with a device on board, and as that plane gains altitude, in descension or in gaining altitude or reaching an altitude, that would be the most effective delivery system for an EMP, a very effective delivery system for an EMP. And why would that be so effective? Because then they can say that this country or that country. I think it was a mere coincidence that they said it came out of South Korea, the Koreas. Nothing at all was coincidence. No, there are no coincidences. They tell you things before they happen. And then that overall plane could be an effective delivery system. But it doesn't have to come from Korea. It could come from somewhere else. Have you noticed all of the problems where things have been getting through, so-called, where they said things have been getting through on TSA? Why are they doing that? Because they're establishing plausible deniability to say, yup, it got down and even further. So now we need to be even more. We're going to have to take more of your freedoms. We're going to have random checks in your houses now. What does that do? That increases the ability to enslave and steal energy even more. This whole thing is being set up in a very unsincere and untruthful way. So we got another caller in queue. Listen, if I'm reading something and you're on, just let me know. Make a little noise so I know you're there. I just happened to check back, and I see my man Roz is there. And I never want to keep any of the callers waiting. So let's go to Roz. Roz, what's going on, man? Good to hear from you, brother.
Hey, what's good? How you doing, Brother Dave? You good?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Talk to us, man.
Hey. Yeah, I was, weirdly enough, the ancestors are so good. I had this time off today. I think, Roz, hold on.
I figured that I think Roz didn't go to work today. Let me tell you how I knew. I knew you didn't go to work today. And I was kind of, I said, oh, shoot, is either the blackout got him or you didn't go to work today because you didn't post until later.
Yeah,
you didn't post in the Thando until later.
Yeah, wow, your observation is brilliant because I was up talking to Brother Jerry late last night. So this morning I got up and I needed to help my wife with some things, so I wasn't able to post. And then actually I was so exhausted because I didn't get enough sleep because I got up early to help my wife this morning with her parents. So I ended up taking a nap, and that's one of the main reasons I ended up posting late. So your observation was on point. And I actually scheduled this time off like well over 2 weeks ago. So, and this is not the first time I avoided like major city events by having time off that I didn't know would happen to fall on the day where something happened. The crash in Jersey, the first train crash, same thing.
The train, yep.
Yep. So it's crazy how the ancestors are just telling me do stuff for a reason, so I'm following their lead. But
you listen.
I didn't even know about.
That's the key.
Yep.
That's the key. You listen. And let me just tell you something about the ancestors. You are the ancestors.
That's right.
You are. We all are. They are not some entities from the past. They are the entities of the present, and you are that. So go ahead, brother. I won't interrupt anymore. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say thank you so much because I've said this before. Even on my show, I believe that my show with Jerry, that each person, when you decide to have a child, or even if you didn't plan a child but the child is here, basically you are allowing an ancestor from one or the other side of the family tree, either the male or female parent, the opportunity to come back to the what they call the phenomenal plane, which is the plane of the living flesh and blood, in order to have experience to perfect itself. So you're absolutely right when you say we're all ancestors. Now, what's crazy is I didn't even know about this until later on when I started reading the articles. And I immediately thought back to like the early 2000s because my wife was in the first blackout, which I believe was the first test run of all of this. As far as back in the early 2000s, she was trapped in the city after working. She ended up telling me what her experiences were. She was terrified. She said she couldn't see anything. Very few people had flashlights at all. She said you could hear people all around you because she was in the middle of in the Penn Station area, and it was only because she happened upon a gay coworker by accident. They bumped into each other. I guess you would call it an accident, but those things are not coincidence if you understand metaphysics. But this particular guy actually he escorted her to the bathroom in Penn Station, waited for her to come out, and then eventually he waited with her for the train till finally the power came on. I think she didn't get home until almost 1 a.m. And she left work from the moment the blackout happened. They couldn't do anything. And she said everything was just shut down. So actually, it was after that happened that I started looking into finding out more about prepping myself, because I said, this is crazy. I said, if you get trapped, you can't see, you can't do nothing. So, like, she has a tactical flashlight now. I have a tactical flashlight. My son has a tactical flashlight. We keep a rechargeable tactical flashlight in the car that also doubles as a self-defense weapon as well. I keep a machete in the car, so, like, we don't play. I told her, I said, if something happens, you got to be prepared in case you're trapped in a place where you need these things and you may not have them. So this is, like you said, these are the things that trigger my thought process. Now, the other thing is, when I thought about, if you really think about it, and matter of fact, just to touch on the Korea thing, I read an article saying that the United States actually could not stop a North Korea missile attack. So they were touting this, but then when they had to recant all of this because it's not accurate. And these are the kinds of lies and propaganda. Like, people will sit here thinking, yeah, we can stop them. Those North Koreans can't do anything. And like you said, it'll be through a means that nobody's thinking of, but this was already pre-planned, that either an EMP takes place or a tactical nuke or a dirty bomb or something. So don't ever believe anything they say. And the other part about it was, it made me think of the video you played yesterday of Rabbi Finkelstein and what he was discussing in regards to...
I think he's stupid the way you said it.
Right. It made me think, like, if you listen to what he was saying, he basically, and he said this, and I told you this before, he said, we always tell you the truth about what we do to you, but you never believe us. And these sorts of plans are basically test runs to see. Back in the early 2000s, they saw what effect it had on the immediate population in the New York City area. And it's always major cities. If it's not New York, it'll be Chicago. If it's not Chicago, it'll be Detroit. If it's not there, it'll be L.A. It'll be New Orleans. It's always major cities where there's a lot of black people that you find these test runs take place. And it's really to find out how we're going to react, what's going to happen as far as how people do things. And this upcoming test run is now widespread because it's multiple cities, from what I understand in the article, that they're going to be doing this stuff in. But today, what's happened today across the country is the real test run and the control test run. Both of these are control test runs, but they're preparing us now for Monday and Tuesday in order to prepare us for martial law, in order to prepare us to basically give up our rights when they pull the plug.
It's a gateway. Exactly.
Exactly. And I'm thankfully, I live about 80 miles away from the city. I'm originally from New York, but I live about 80 miles away from the city. So in that regard, I lucked up where it didn't affect me. The other aspect was when the first blackout happened back in the early 2000s. I remember it was the entire grid. It was like from New York all the way to Ohio. It was all blacked out. They couldn't, it was a whole huge...
Up into Canada. No, it went to Canada. Remember, it went to Canada, Roz?
Yep, absolutely. You're right. And the crazy part about it was, where the blackout cut off was right at New Brunswick, and I'm further out than New Brunswick. So when my wife was trapped in the city and had no electricity, I was sitting here and we were fine. So she ended up calling from her cell phone and all this stuff before the phone ended up dying. And I told her, I said, well, we're fine. She said, really? I said, yeah. I said, it hasn't, affected us here. And so the lucky part is that I live so far away from the city. The messed up part is that I have to travel into the danger zone every day, not knowing what's to come. So I usually try to walk with things in my bag. I have a fire starter kit. I always keep a bottle of water with me. I always keep activated charcoal with me. So these are all things I take with me every day. I have like multiple fire starter kits in my bag. I have 3 tactical flashlights that I carry in case one goes out. I got extras. I keep 2 knives on me every day, a tactical pen on me every day. And I keep Munchables in my bag, and then I always take like a couple of books that I'm reading with me, just so I have something in case I'm trapped and I need something to do just to occupy my brain time. But ultimately, I try to keep those things accessible. I also have Mylar bags or Mylar blankets in my bag, so if I'm trapped in a place where it's warm and it's cold outside, then I have that. If I need to make a makeshift shelter, then I still have the Mylar bag, and I keep some paracord on me as well. I keep like a paracord bracelet with a compass in it and a bunch of other things in my bag. So if I ever need to do something on the spot, I think I have what I need at least to take care of myself in that interim period. But ultimately, it's really about the setup and the fact that they've conditioned us so much to accept whatever they say is truth and fact. And the vast majority of us do exactly what Rabbi Finkelstein said. We don't believe what they say. These people do not care. If you just study the history of what they've done to non-white people, not just specifically black people, and even what they've done to their own people, because they don't care about them either. It's
everybody,
really
right? They do it to every.
Yep.
Enslavement of all is a profitable business. Go ahead, Rod.
Absolutely. It's all about control and psychological domination.
Yep.
And when you understand the psychology of what they do, then you can start to see that these people don't function like humans. That's why I say they're not really human beings. They're hominids. They walk on two legs.
Right.
They have 2 eyes, 2 arms like everybody else, but their functioning is completely predatory, and not just predatory because
they become a beast.
The predators. They're a cancer. They're a virus. They're just the most savage, non-emotional, exactly non-caring entities that we'll ever come across. And we keep assuming that because they're hominids, and that's why I tell people watch They Live, because that's the greatest example of what we're seeing. People who look like they're human, but they function like nothing, no other living thing on the planet. And these are the kind of people that we have in control of our everyday reality. These are the people who control the so-called fake news that we're getting on a daily basis. These are the people.
Hold on, one second, Roz, because you hit on a point that hold on, the fake news, and I'm gonna bring you back to that, the fake news. You know.
Okay.
And the thing about it is so important. Think about how they condition us. Every sporting mascot or every sporting regalia is what? A beast of some form. It doesn't matter. It's an attacking beast of some form. You know what I mean? Every pretty much any major league sport thing. The predominant, if they're an eagle, it's a warring eagle. If it's a bear, it's an attacking bear. And if it's a snake, it's a biting snake. You know, if it's a panther, it's because it's the continuous psychological indoctrination and simulation program that continues with us all, and we don't really recognize that this so-called civilized world is a cannibal-run world. They practice cannibalism of all forms, and you were so right when you talked about they're not human anymore. They're a beast, and they actually look at how many cities and how many things have all regalias of beast. So for a reason because of that. It's a reason because of that. And this is really powerful reinforcement to everything. And so when you say that they're beasts, that is the truth because that's what they want to be and that's who they become. And so we got to remember that they're the beasts because they're looking for the prey. And they consider us the prey. So, and you were talking about the fake news, Rod, before I had interrupted.
Oh, no problem. And yeah, with the news and whatnot, and on the show that I do with Brother Jerry, I was discussing the fact that the oldest form of newspaper was created by Akhenaten, and he used to have these scarabs that he would have created, and on the flat side of the scarab, whatever information he wanted the Egyptian people to know, he would put it on the scarab and have his servants go throughout the country distributing these scarabs. So everybody got whatever propaganda that he wanted them to have, and that's literally the origin of the newspaper. Then they got that whole idea from what Akhenaten was doing back in his time when he created the one God concept and basically facilitated the destruction of the true Nile Valley spiritual tradition by him transforming the culture. And ultimately what we're looking at is the control of not just information, but the quality of information that everyone has access to. And because we're all indoctrinated into this idea that whatever the government does or says is beneficent and good, we fall for it every time. Every time they tell us to do something, we just jump in wholeheartedly, whether it's a new device, whether it's a new app, some new form of technology, and no one's paying attention to the fact that whatever they release has a caveat, and that caveat is something that's self-destructive or murderous. And because we are so conditioned to believe that the powers that control our daily reality are really about the upward mobility of everyone, we fall for it. That's why I don't get involved in like the apps and any new things that they put out. I don't touch it, or I just wait an extreme length of period of time so I can kind of see what's developing and how it plays out. And most times it plays out where I don't need that stuff, and I'm glad I didn't touch it. And what's most telling about it is the fact that it really goes to show the mental illness that they've infused upon the entire society, because not enough people really understand what's going on and are not I would say disinvesting themselves, removing themselves from participating in whatever these people are putting out for us to partake of. And the more of us do that, the more that we'll see that a lot of the things that happen to other people who just have the blind faith, like you say, would not happen to us. And that's the main thing, is just understand that it's psychosocial conditioning, and that psychosocial conditioning is towards martial law, which is the lowest form of sovereignty you can have, because you have none. They can kick in the door to your house when they want. They can search you whenever they feel like it. They can kill you whenever they feel like it. And this is what we've been dealing with, so this isn't new. All they're doing is ratcheting up what we've been seeing all the time. And this whole, like you said, with the logos and the whole gladiator arena type of mentality, it's now the whole globe is a gladiator arena. And that's what we're not paying attention to. We think it's just the TV. We think it's just the UFC. We think it's just sports. We think it's just the military. We think it's just, individual singular things, when it's everything, because they've infected everything with their psychopathology. And we're also going along for the ride with these people. So we really have to. And we
always miss the message. We always miss the message of what they're going to be telling. And you know what, real quick, Roz, on that, because we're getting ready to go to a commercial break. Hold on, Roz. Okay. Two things. Let me tell you where this really, really kicked off, is the Boston Marathon bombers. That whole scenario, that whole false flag scenario. What did they do during that? They had an incident that was created, and they ran in people's houses. And guess what people were doing out there, cheering and clapping for them and everything else, when they were doing what? Completely violating the law. This was the indoctrination. So, hey, Roz, real quick, got to bring you right back after the commercial break. And then don't forget, a couple of people texted me and wanted you to give you and Jerry's show, because Jerry came on earlier this week and he was telling us about the show. Tell us about the show. And then the last, some of your shows on podcast, and let everybody know when and where they can find you and Jerry for that show. So hold on one second, brother. Get ready to go to a commercial break. You're listening to Thando Radio Show, brought to you by Black Talk Radio Network. Give us a call, 866-510-9025. We'll be right back after this quick commercial break.
The Black Talk Radio Network is made possible in part with help from the Black Talk Media Project, a North Carolina-based nonprofit engaged in the production and distribution of independent digital black media. Find out more by going to blacktalkradionetwork.com or blacktalkmediaproject.org and look for the menu tab, Crowdfunding Black Media. Black Talk Media Project, helping to provide you with new black media for the new millennium. You are tuned in to Black Talk Radio, new black media for the new millennium.
Welcome back, everyone, to Thando Radio Show, brought to you by Black Talk Radio Network. If you'd like to get in on the conversation, I'm Dave from L.A., and the host of the show for today. If you'd like to get in on the conversation, give us a call, 866-510-9025, 866-510-9025. We got my man Roz online, so we're going to go back to Roz now. So, Roz, let's pick back up where you were leaving off. But before we do that, first, tell everyone the show that you and Jerry are doing, where they can find you guys, and just give us, your take on what is it that you guys will be engaging in, because I know a lot of the Thando Radio Show listeners definitely want to hear you and Jerry and what's going on, and definitely want to support that, brother.
I appreciate it very much, and I appreciate everybody on BTR because I tend to post the podcast after the show, and I recently started posting the information regarding how to access the program. We come on every Wednesday from 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. It's on Blog Talk Radio, and
what time zone?
Eastern
what time zone? Right,
9 to 11 Eastern Standard Time. I'm sorry about that. 9 to 11 Eastern Standard Time, and the number is 917-889-2830, and you just press 1 if you have a question or comment. It's on the show is called Real Life, and it's on the Melanin and Power Network on Blog Talk Radio. And what we talk about is a myriad of subjects. We deal with racism, white supremacy, and how that particular problem, which is, in my opinion, the biggest problem we have, it kind of is, everything spins off from that. When you get to the root of a lot of what we're dealing with, all of what we're dealing with, that's really what's the driving force behind it, is white people's fear of genetic annihilation and the most powerful white people who control the daily reality of our planetary citizenry. And ultimately, we deal with that. We deal with spirituality. We deal with right now we're on technocracy, where we're dealing with a lot of the different technology that's being created and the potential dangers of those technologies and how they work. Different ways we can protect ourselves from the different forms of electromagnetic radiation and energy that different devices emit. So we're dealing with that sort of stuff right now. But ultimately, we deal with subjects that really relate to our everyday reality and how to deal with them. Also, African spirituality and culture, and how that specifically relates to our liberation. Really, how we can use that sort of stuff to liberate ourselves spiritually and then eventually literally. So it's really about helping our people understand what we're dealing with on the daily reality, how these things relate to our past history or how the past is repeating itself, and some of the things we can try and do to mitigate those circumstances as a people, and just having like roundtable dialogue on what people think, when we've gotten quite a bit of great participation just as far as other people's input. And it just expands the conversation. Like you said, a dialogue is more important than a monologue, and it really kind of facilitates everyone's genius in regards to their contributions to what we're discussing. So really, I look forward to anyone's input in regards to helping. Even if you have something that's corrective, like I made like a snafu. We were talking about Hitler and the fact that he had rejected shaking Jesse Owens' hand. It was a part of the movie Race. We're talking about that, and I actually said Jackie Robinson by accident. So a brother called in and actually corrected us. So I just like to say that too. It's not just about thinking we know everything. We're all still learning, and sometimes we just forget or we just make little snafus. So even if you hear something that's
you
not
know
accurate,
what? Hold on that note. Let me tell you something. It's when you have the burden of bringing something, when you take on that role to bring something to people, it's a process of learning, and mistakes happen, and that was and it's good that the people, and I'm pretty sure the brother was cool the way he brought the say, hey, it was this. But one of the things that it's a different energy to sit and listen than it is to provide. Because, Roz, let me tell you, and I know you become extremely tired after the show. Mentally drained.
Yeah, because I'm dedicated. You're dedicated too. And what it is that when you love your people, you love what you do, and it's really, because a lot of people don't get, this is life and death stuff. This ain't a game. This is nothing where, you're sitting around thinking that, this is real life stuff. That's one of the reasons the show is called Real Life. This is real life. People are dying every day. Women, black children, black men, they're disappearing every day. The testing that they're doing is happening every day. I see chemtrails all over my area regular. Like, this is stuff, like the stuff Dave is talking about, this is real life stuff that affects us every day in ways that we can't always perceive. And you have to be dedicated. You have to really be about truth, justice, honesty, reciprocity, actual love, just the whole concept of ma'at, the holistic concept of ma'at, and communal-centric. And it takes a lot out of a person to do research, to study. And not only that, but you got a job, you have a family, you have other things you're doing, and you incorporate a big part of your life force energy outside of working on a plantation if you have a job. into trying to get information that can help your people and yourself and your own family and the people around you, it's a draining process. But to me, it's all worthwhile. That's actually what I consider my real job. I could give two hecks about a plantation job. That's just a means to an end for me to pay whatever bills I need to pay and accumulate real money, like we talk about, the things that are important. But outside of that, what's really important is my ancestral obligation. And that obligation is to help African people, non-white people specifically, solve this problem. And the problem is all pervasive. It's the two biggest, is slavery and racism, white supremacy. Those are the two major forces that drive everything that happens on this planet the way we see it. And it's so orchestrated, and we have to have a multi-pronged, multidisciplinary attack. That's why I love Thando. That's why I feel so thankful that the ancestors opened my paths and doors and roads to get with Jerry. And thank you for that, because if it wasn't for this show, it would have never happened. And that way I can make my own contribution outside of the writing I do and the lectures and the other things that I do to try and reach our people. The radio platform is the most important to me because you can reach more people than you ever know. The kind of responses I've gotten has been incredible, just in regards to people appreciating what I do. And I don't really revel in blame or praise. I'm of Malcolm X's school of thought, where everything that I give that is helpful comes from the Creator and the ancestors, and I take responsibility for the mistakes I make. I know that what I write is not me writing. I'm being used to pass this information on from people who are greater than me, who don't wear flesh anymore. So they're using me as a person who wears flesh and who is an ancestor returned myself to try and give the information they have to convey through what I've been able to learn, which was all with their guidance in the first place. So like you said, it is draining, but it's draining in a good way. It's totally different when you're doing something you love to do that you know is relevant versus when you're working for someone else who basically has you on a modern-day plantation, and it's just a different form of plantation, but it's the same stuff that takes place now that took place 500 years ago. So, yeah, you're absolutely accurate in that. And I just want to say thank you just for even giving me the platform to even speak about the show and let people know about it. And just for everyone who does listen and who has tuned in and who sends emails with different articles and things like that, I appreciate it, because we can't do it all. Like they said, I can't do it all. Yes, I'm a very good researcher. I've been doing this for many, many years now. But at the same time, I can't get access to everything. So as people come across good information, send it to me. And what I do is I try to interpret it using my history, my knowledge of African spirituality, my history and knowledge of natural remedies, my knowledge of the things that I've grown to learn from shows like this, and I apply those things to how I present to the people. And I'm thankful that I'm able to help people do something. Like I said, even if I help one person, then I'm doing my job as far as I'm concerned. But I would hope that I can help as many people as possible. But if I can't help everybody, if I can at least help one person, then I know I'm doing something right, and that's all for the most part. Yes. And just thank you for the show, because
and Raj, when you help that one person that you're really helping is you, because you're helping yourself to be who you truly, truly are. You become what the great Creator has placed here as an asset for sustainability. And then it cross-pollinates into everyone else around you. And that's a beautiful, beautiful thing, because I appreciate you. I appreciate Jerry. I appreciate Brother Davis, Sister Davis, Brother Braggs. Man, Brother Braggs, yeah. We all have our personal relationships, I have relationships with everyone here, and it's, because of the everyday, running a business and everything else. And I appreciate my man Jambone. Jambone will hit you up. Will hit you with so many different, with so many sources of things, and then you, Raj, you hit. You hit us with sources of things, so it helps, and it is who we really, really should be. It's a collective prudence, because our overall bond isn't sealed by what man has created. It's eternal through the great love that we share and acknowledge as our way of eternity. And I appreciate you and everybody else. Of course, Scotty, CC, and everything. Sure. It's a process, and that process is a beautiful process with beautiful people like everyone that we engage in. We love the Thando Radio Show listeners and and everything else. And I know you do, and they love you. And that's
Absolutely,
what we really
man.
need. We need to get back to a community.
Yes, yes. And I wanted to say one last thing in regards to the whole dialogue process. A lot of times, I'll get compliments from people who say, "Hey, you really dropped some serious stuff, and I appreciate it." But I try to tell them it's the dialogue that brings the genius out of people. It's listening. When I listen to this show, I sit there and I listen while I'm on the train home, and I make notes of things that I want to discuss. And it's based on what you're presenting. You trigger my brain to sift through all those neurons to come up with the stuff that I come up with from my own, mental and spiritual archives. So it's a give and take thing. It's not like the person's just sitting there just bombarding you with all this information that you might think is wonderful. It's really what's being sparked in the mind of the other people as you're bringing up this information, discussing these things, talking about these articles. It's sparking my mind, and then I'm calling in once I get the opportunity to speak in a space where it's not going to disrupt the sound quality of the program, and then I'll say what I need to say. When Scotty calls in, it's based on what's being discussed. You're triggering that genius in him, and his counter-racist code, his perspective, his code and ideas on how things work. He'll call in and say something that's genius. And it's because you're sparking that genius by what you're saying, and then based on something he says, he might spark something in you, and you come back with something, and people are like, oh, my goodness. And it's accurate stuff, but it's based on the quality of the dialogue and the fact that it's each person's contribution that makes the show so holistically great as far as the information it's presenting and the level of understanding that it's bringing to the people. So that's the importance of really chiming in and giving your perspective and your opinion. You never know what your idea might spark in someone else and might bring out of them. You never know how your perception of things, your angle of viewing a particular situation or a particular form of reality might spark in someone else. And they say, you know what, I never thought about it that way, but that's actually true. And it's really real. So the importance of the contribution of the people who call in is essential. It's one of the most essential things. And now that I have a radio show myself that I do, I understand that even more. Like when Brother Davis is on the line, he's like, call in. Like, call in. He's not lying. Like, call in. Because it's questions right. Things you do. Yeah, it really sparks something. That's one thing I tell Jerry all the time. One of his most important attributes is the way he asks questions. I'm like, dude, you could be like a serious journalist doing like serious work.
Jerry is.
If the world, I'm just talking about from a wider perspective.
Yes,
if the world is really prepared for truth. And the world's not prepared for truth, so people like him who ask really great questions that bring brilliant answers out of the people he's petitioning for those answers, that's what's missing. Even when you look at, like, CNN and all that stuff, they ask nonsense. They're really giving you trash. It's like watching a commercial that's an hour long. Like, it's all scripted nonsense. So, like, just the simple act of asking a question, the simple act of maybe just contributing a thought and idea about a particular subject can transform and revolutionize the understanding and consciousness of many, many people who are tuning into the show. So take that seriously, whoever's listening to the show. Don't be afraid. Don't be scared. We're all learning. So even if you make a mistake or you say something and it comes out, jumbled up or, whatever it is, don't take it on a personal level. Take it as I'm contributing to the greater good for everybody so we can all make something happen collectively, like you were saying, collective prudence. That should be the approach. And when liberation is more important than your own personal feelings, you start to see that kind of love is universal. You have to love
right.
people.
You notice it, yes.
You have to,
so true, right?
Yeah, you have to love
well
people.
Said.
And that should be the driving force of you wanting to contribute. It should never be an ego-based thing, and that's one thing that I fight, especially coming from a hip-hop background. The whole hip-hop culture is ego-based because black men have been emasculated, And I remember we were reading the Delectable Negro and the Cows, and there was a section where they were dealing with it deals with cannibalism, but they were talking about castration. And I remember in hip-hop when I was growing up, and just in the streets in general, even playing like street ball and stuff, that black men like to grab their genitals regularly. And I said on the show, there was a section where it just sparked an idea. And I said, you know what, all my life doing hip-hop, I used to wonder why we grab our genitals all the time. It was just a reflex action. And I was like, you know what, it's almost like we're proving that we still have our testicles, that they haven't castrated us yet. And it's a subconscious thing that manifests as us grabbing our genitals and saying, like I still got mine. They ain't take mine from me yet. It's something that no one ever told me. That it just came to me like, you know what? They've castrated us so much. They eat our testicles when they castrate us. They save them as trophies and pass them through from generation to generation.
How about this? I haven't offered it to them yet.
That's another exactly, because in today's day and age, a lot offer them my nuts too. It's so true. But I mean, like, I thought about that, and it just sparked that understanding. Like, yeah, that's what it is. Like, we're so used to being emasculated and castrated, whether it's actually, whether it's psychosocially, we're used to that. So it's almost like for ourselves, we have to check and see, do I still have them? So we do that, and people might think it's offensive, but when you are an oppressed people, the most oppressed people, because the darkest people are the most oppressed of them all, you know, these are things that are subconsciously being reinforced all the time. And we have to start thinking to understand ourselves, know ourselves, and it'll help us understand how we need to move collectively. So thanks for the opportunity to just give my thoughts and ideas.
My man, always much love. You know it, brother. You know it. And you know what's so important? This is one, you know, you have to be schooled to be a slave, and it's something that we have to start failing. We need we don't need the doctrines, the masters, the double majors, the you know, having a bachelor's and all these the higher education. We do not need to be passing. This is the schooling that we need to be failing to be the perfect slave.
Absolutely.
And because
if people want to
it's a process.
Get a nice understanding. I'm sorry, I was going to say, if people want to get a nice understanding of what school is really about, there's a brilliant interview that Gil Noble had he had a show called Like It Is that he had with Bob Marley. And at one point in the interview, he asked about his education. And Bob said, if I went to school, I would be a fool. He said, everything that I know and I learned from nature. He said, I learned from tilling the soil when my family were farming up in the hills in St. Anne's in Jamaica. So all the brilliance that Bob Marley was known for had not a darn thing to do with sitting in a classroom. It had to do with being self-taught by studying nature. That is what our ancestors have been doing for millions of years in the Nile Valley, in the Niger Valley, all around the African continent and all around the American continent and everywhere that we were found. We studied nature, found what was in ourselves in nature to know who we were, and perfected ourselves spiritually and physically based on that understanding. And if you do that, everybody, and it doesn't mean don't go to college, but what it does mean is that the people who are most intelligent, and this is something that Einstein said, the most intelligent people learn most after they leave school. It's not in school. It's once you leave. What do you do to continue your understanding? And what do you do to exorcise the lies that have been inculcated in you when in school? Because a lot of what you learn is edited dictation. It's a person in front of you who was given a degree by some white person who lied to them, made them memorize those lies, and said, well, you get this degree because you memorized the lies that I want you to memorize. Now go teach everybody.
And you regurgitate it. You can regurgitate it well.
Exactly. Edited dictation. That's what this really is. So rather than understanding and regurgitating somebody else's thoughts, do your independent study, and like Brother David says, your due diligence, and you'll start to realize that a lot of the stuff you've been taught is nonsensical, and it's all about indoctrinating you to fall in line for when they collapse the economy, or whenever some rogue cop wants to brutalize you, and whatever it is. But it's a setup. When you start to understand the way the real world works, it's going to happen outside of the classroom if you continue your education. Eartha Kitt used to say her diploma will be her tombstone. That should be everybody's aspiration. You never stop being in school until that dirt is thrown upon that casket. That is my ideology, too, and I'm thankful to the sister for making that statement, because it's a driving force for me. And hopefully that's the way the majority of people, especially Thando listeners, are functioning, and I know they are because I hear them calling all the time. So thanks again, and I'll mute my line and lay in the cut for a minute. But if anything else comes up that I can chime in,
we'll catch up, man. I absolutely love you, man. We'll catch up. Much love, much respect to you. Yes, give my regards, man. For sure. Okay, everyone, we're getting ready to get out of here. Listen, be prepared for any and everything. You know, the things that are going on. You are ready. You have been put in the position because you have asked to be here at this time. I firmly do think that is the truth, that you have asked to be here because you are essential to the solutions of today, tomorrow, and the eternal flow that we all will be going through. This is why I never say goodbye, because there's no such thing as goodbye. It's always, I'll see you later. Much love and much respect. You may get out of here. We'll talk to you all soon. Peace. Much love, much respect. Talk soon.